Something that maybe isn't also very pleasant at this point in time. It's the Rick Pitino era thus far in St. John's. The legendary basketball coach, Rick Pitino, who just decided, you know what? Enough with this trying to coddle these young players and work with them and really find the positives and everything that goes on with being a coach and trying to develop young men into being upstanding individuals and to represent the sport and themselves and their families nicely. Why don't I just go ahead and just air everybody out within striking distance? Here was Rick Pitino.
We are so non-athletic that we can't guard anybody without fouling. I don't think they move well laterally. I don't think they're going to pick it up in the next week. I think they're slow laterally. I mean, Sean Conway gives you everything he can. He's slow laterally. About 5 guys are slow laterally. Even the Celtics, when we lost, I've enjoyed every minute being a Boston Celtic coach. Didn't like the fact that we lost in that following year, but this has been the most unenjoyable experience I've had since I've been coaching.
Do you have any second thoughts of taking this job?
No, not at all. It's not St. John's. It's my team. I think they're very respectful. They hear, but they don't listen. It's taken me a month to get them to throw bounce passes. Actually, 2 months to throw bounce passes. Just thinking of getting ready for Georgetown because Georgetown could definitely beat us. I'm not even thinking of the future at all. I'm just thinking of the next game and the next game and the next game, and that's it.
They have plucked his nerve so bad. They have pushed him over Niagara Falls with how bad they have. For a coach to say that, they have frustrated him beyond the point of no return. And they know it. That's what I say. You go ahead and have your take on this one, Q, but I'm just telling you, they didn't pluck that man's nerves to death. To death. They done drove him back to the corner, the little bar spot, and he needs some milk. You know what I mean? He needs some relief time, bruh. Because let me tell you something. They didn't worked his nerve all the way. It's done.
I've got a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, come on.
Rick Pitino's done this and has been successful for a long time. And I have a hard time believing he's unaware of what he's doing when he's saying this and knowing that this is going to be covered nationally. It's going to go viral. And there's some thoughts to me thinking, is this how he feels like he has to get a hold of his team? As far as you hear the comments of them hearing him that they're not listening. I mean, I can relate to that every day as a father. I mean, how many times I'm telling my kids something and I know they hear me, but are they listening? Are they implementing what I'm telling them to do into their daily lives in school and sports, et cetera? So I almost look at it and wonder, is this his attempt to get their attention and to get them to listen doing it this way? Because the way he's probably started off coaching doing it, talking to guys face-to-face, talking to them in the locker room, talking to them in practice at games, it's not working. So I do wonder that. I wonder if this is a byproduct of him walking into college sports at a time, an era where, you can't be the coach at Kentucky or Louisville and just win based on the brand and the resources you have over your competition to be able to recruit those kids to your program. St. John's has a very, I should say, a storied, or it's a historic basketball program, but I don't think they're out there heavy in the NIL world. Their facilities aren't up to par. There's a lot of things they struggle with. And, he said he didn't regret taking the job. That might be one way of looking at it. But I also think the time and era he takes the job could be a lot more difficult than he's realized. And maybe I'm wrong in that sense. But the last thing I just say is maybe he doesn't care. He's airing them out because in this day and age, you can turn over a roster relatively quick. You get all those guys to transfer, you have those scholarships to free up to bring guys in. And maybe he feels like that's the best way of turning this thing over in order to make them competitive and make them successful moving forward.
Who was the guy who did it?
Illinois. Illinois football
Brett
coach.
Bielema did it.
Yeah.
To the O-lineman. But there was somebody was it Dabo Swinney who basically said something along the lines of, mean, if you don't like it, donate or chip into the collective. Or it was something along those lines of like, hey, if you don't like the roster, if you don't like what we're doing here, then you have the power to be able to influence this.
Was that me? Jeez. Sounds like something I said.
Yeah, but I remember we were having that same conversation. And so when Pitino talks about, them having bad facilities and all that, like, it doesn't seem like he's just trying to find a way out.
Well, he said, I'm not talking about St. John's, I'm talking about the players.
Yeah, but he
did talk about the facilities.
Yeah, he said, do we have bleep facilities? Yes, we do. He's all, but that doesn't have to do with us not knowing how to guard.
Yeah, I
think to say, there's a lot of quotes that we didn't get in there, but
I think Rick Pitino is one of those guys. He's had an amazing career, and where he's at right now, I mean, he's accomplished enough where he's speaking his mind. And these dudes have, for better or for worse, maybe he was younger. Maybe he had teams that were, not enjoyable to coach, but he was younger. He had more patience at a different point in time in his life. He didn't have, he doesn't have as much grace for, these guys as he once did before, because I'm going to tell you right now, every coach deals with that. Every single coach deals with that. You could tell a kid the most sensible, easiest, reasonable thing to do, and they don't do it. That's every coach. I remember I used to teach kids, thumb up, palm up. All right? You punch the chest. Once you punch the chest, you stick the fingers in. Stick the fingers in. Punch the chest, boom. Turn them fingers, stick the fingers in, you grab, and you drive. You push, you drive. That's it. Like, they couldn't even get off of just the thumb up, palm up. Like, why do you have your hand like you're doing a high five? I said thumb up, palm up. So your thumb should be up and your palm should be up. They couldn't even do that. You teach a dude coverages. Like, all right, you count from outside in. So if you see a receiver all the way out, that's number one. You move into the second receiver, that's number two.
Number two.
Move into the backfield, that's number three.
What up,
I want you to split the difference between 2 and 3, play the hook, and watch 3 coming into the flare. They can't do it. They can't do it.
What's odd is, like, he had so much success at Iona the past few years, right? Like, he won a couple of conference championships. He won the conference and tournament championship recently, like 2 years ago. So what's weird is he's already taken a small school like that, and he's got them to be successful. He's got them to be able to make it to the NCAA tournament a couple of times. Like, there's something like said for that. Like, it's not like he's lost his chops coaching. He's like very much capable, very much, has been successful. So I don't know. Again, I'm hoping it's just a wake up call. I'm hoping this won't be something that continues.
He meant that. He meant that. He meant every bit of what he said.
And again, maybe it's to run some of these players out.
That's what it is. That's what I thought it was.
You have windows to be able to, fill in your roster, and they're probably working on guys to replace them right now. And look, he will build it back up. Like, that's one thing about Rick Pitino, man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go back to, man. Like, go back to BU back in the 70s. Like, he will build a team up, and he will make them into something. He's proven that. Proved it at Providence, proved it at Kentucky, proved it at Louisville. Like, everywhere he's been, Iona, like, he will make them a competitive, good basketball team. So I wonder how much of this, too, is just on the players. Like, we always hear a coach air players out, and you're like, all right, it's a bad move by the coach. But you've got Rick Pitino coaching you, man.
I mean, the one thing we know about Rick Pitino, he'll go above and beyond to make sure that they're successful. Like, we know that.
He will go above it. Didn't they make blue chips based off of his true story?
No. But some ladies of the night surely had a lot of employment.
Ladies of the night. You didn't hear me say go to the corner bar and get rid of some of that stress? I hit you up with that earlier. Yeah, you ain't catch it. Right. Wasn't he in a bar when all that stuff popped off?
Well, yeah, there's
he got caught up. He was in the bar,
an Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
The weird thing is they're like on pace to be kind of what they've been before he got there.
Yeah, it's just he's got to let them know. Bad facilities, bad teams. This is what we got, and maybe there'll be some change there. So it's fun. I love Rick Pitino. By the way, Kenny Smith did call him best coach he ever had in his playing career. And that was when I believe he played for him in the NBA, maybe with the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken. But he said Rick Pitino's the best coach he ever had. So very well respected, just a little bit pissed off right now.